12:04 in Edmonton. Happy Monday to everybody out there. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, and of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. What's up? Thank you. Love you. Appreciate you. And then if you're watching on YouTube, same thing. Text us, 780-218-9999. And of course, get into the nasty chat as well. Lots to discuss on this edition of the Oil Stream. Tom Gazzola and Joaquin Gage with you. Hernan Salas in the studio, just making sure everything's running along smoothly. Busy day here at EST. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to roll on. It's a
busy day, busy week.
Busy week, yeah. 4 games, Hernan was saying, for the Oilers, and then we're expecting big news from the Elks. Talking about fighting. You guys are going to talk about the Paul Tyson fight.
So many things wrong.
Yeah, a lot of things wrong there. We will focus on the Oilers because they take on the Montreal Canadiens. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show cuts into the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne at 4:30. Myself, Matt Cassian, and Hernan Salas, and then Reed and Jay will wrap up the show, and then we'll have the postgame show for you. Early start, 5:30 in Montreal. It's an Amazon Prime game, if people are wondering.
I didn't mind the last one.
It's fine. Like, their streaming was better than the Netflix streaming.
Oh, way better.
Way better.
You know, it was funny because the start of the game, it had the just the view of the rink and warm up.
Yep.
And I was like, what are they doing? And I remember Dusty, is this what it is? But then it was like, you know, I distinctly remember, and every time I go into the rink, I remember being a little kid going into the Pacific Coliseum, and you get that wave of cold air, and there was a guy selling programs, your programs, and there was a distinct smell. Not a bad smell, but there was a rink smell to it still.
Popcorn.
Yeah.
Hot dogs on the spinner.
Yeah. And I remember walking, and you could actually feel the air like moving around just from, and so that's how I looked at it. I was like, it took me back. Okay, I'm sitting there watching warm up, which I always loved to do as a kid if I went to a NHL game. So it was unique. The rest, I can see why most, at least Oiler fans, might have been a little bit not as interested because they know all those old stories, right?
Right.
But if you grab a non-hockey fan looking at that and seeing the history of the Edmonton Oilers, and you know they do have Mess on the broadcast at some point. You can see what he meant to this city and the team at that time. I liked it. So tonight, you'll probably learn something about the Montreal Canadiens that maybe you didn't know before. So I'm kind of looking forward to the intermissions just to get a little bit more history.
Yeah, it's a new broadcast, and they've brought together a lot of great broadcasters, some that have a lot of experience, others that are just kind of getting their feet wet in the broadcast world, and it's going to take time. They have to find their rhythm like anything, and they're only a few weeks into this thing. So I didn't mind it from what I saw. The last one was a home game, so I only caught like the last. I had it on during the pregame show in my studio at home, and I would look up and be like, why aren't they showing? Like, why is there no panel or anything like that? And they were showing, like you said, the warm-up. But I thought it was kind of neat, and then what I did watch and listen when I got back to my place, there was about 8 minutes left in the third period. I'm like, this sounds like a traditional broadcast, and it was just fine.
Shane Knighty was on there.
Yeah, with Johnny
teammate of mine. Yeah, he was great. Yeah,
Thomas Hickey was the other one.
Yeah, they were good.
He's been around. Well, he was here with the Islanders last week as well. I'm like, who is this guy? Oh, Thomas Hickey. All right, he's a broadcaster now. So I'm sure it'll be good. They're in Montreal, like you said. There's a lot of history, and I'm sure there's some untapped stories that we haven't had come to light. There are a lot of storylines that we need to hit on today on the Oil Stream, and we will do that. Of course, the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. They've got their holiday menu that's being launched right now, and we had a great time at BP Westgate. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a lot of fun. They have their simulator. There's a golf simulator at BP Westgate. The Coors Light Golf Simulator. Curtis and Tony are fantastic. Good vibe, and it's some awesome giveaways. And Gager, you've been out for them, and they do a good job. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of AM Nasties came out.
That's
just
great.
Nasties in general, and then it was my dad's birthday, so we had a lot of fun there. We're looking to do it again later this month on the 30th. And we're at Hudson's, by the way, White Avenue on the 21st.
Okay.
So the holiday menu has been unveiled at Boston Pizza. Season's Eatings. Take a holiday break at BP. Try their new holiday menu. Celebrate the season with Boston Pizza as your go-to holiday hideaway. Gather with family and friends over their festively delicious holiday menu featuring indulgent dishes, delightful desserts, and signature drinks, of course, crafted to add cheer to every moment. From casual get-togethers to planned celebrations, they make it easy to host and toast with the hassle being taken away. So take a holiday break, pull up a seat, and savor the flavors that make this season special. We're getting there, but the season on the ice getting a little bit vicious. Lots to debate when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers and what happened Saturday night. There was a lot of vitriol. You want to talk about vicious, the fan base towards a couple people. I think rightly so. When it comes to the Oilers, Stuart Skinner was taking a lot of heat. I will reiterate, I was not defending him on Saturday. That was the one where I'm like, usually I defend him, not tonight. And then rightly so as well, Evan Bouchard. What did you glean from what we witnessed Saturday?
So I thought it was a good game. Here's how I looked at that game. It was a good regular season game. Like those are always, I find, very very fun games to watch because you have two teams that, for a lot of the time like to play with the puck more. When you see a little bit more jump on the offensive side opposed to the defensive side, which means there's going to be chances at both ends. I thought there could have been a little bit more physicality from an Oilers, a little bit, just imposing their will. But you didn't get that from the Leafs, except for one instance. But look, it was it's those lessons. When I look at the game on the whole, it's the regular season is all about learning lessons on how to win throughout the year. And it's funny that you'd think that hockey players would remember it, but the need to focus in for the full 60 to 65 minutes is crucial because in a small time frame of 4 and 5 minutes, you can lose the game. And that's what happened. Two big mental mistakes from Evan Bouchard. And I hate to say it, I think you can include Stuart Skinner a little bit with mental lapses as well with his game. First, even Connor McDavid, kind of a soft play in his own end with the puck.
He lost the puck.
Well, he got it and wasn't his proactive self where usually with his quantum computer hockey brain, he's usually 2 steps ahead, and that puck's getting passed to someone right away.
Yes.
Not getting it, then looking and not knowing what to do with it. Right. So, and I liked the Leafs play. Matthew Nyes. If there's anyone that would probably be a good candidate to target for a offer sheet, it's him. And with the Leafs. Well, I don't know if they're going to be up against it next year. I guess a lot would have to do with PJ Tavares, what his next contract looks like. I don't see him making $11 million, but
no. He's having a good year.
I know, isn't that funny?
He's a point a game guy. Yeah.
So maybe he gets the Stamkos contract for $8 million somewhere else.
That could happen.
Yeah,
it could happen. I mean, depends like how much of a Maple Leaf he really is. Like, is he posting that picture of him and his
the PJs.
His underoos, sleeping as a Maple Leaf. I'm so dedicated to stay here. Maybe that has worn off where the Leafs don't feel the same way about him anymore. We'll see. And they do it without Austin Matthews. And to the Leafs' credit, they are still a good team.
They are a good team.
They are a good team.
Yeah.
They're 11-6-2 now. They've gone 7-2-1 in their last 10, put together back-to-back wins. And they're good on home ice. That win made them 8-3 this season at Scotiabank Arena. So it's not like the Oilers soiled the sheets against a lesser opponent. They were up against a good team from the East that was getting up for facing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and took advantage of the mistakes Edmonton made and provided some opportunity for Toronto, and the Leafs capitalized. And yes, whether it was Connor McDavid giving the puck away on the goal line and then Skinner made the save, Emberson late getting back, it was Bobby McMahon putting the puck in the net by Skinner. Then the one that got Oilers fans really upset, and rightly so, was the two bonehead plays by Evan Bouchard in the third period in a really crappy sequence for him. And unfortunately, if you're an Oilers fan, for the team. I was saying, and I wasn't even joking on the post-game show. It was a feisty post-game show. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Leafs fans infiltrated, which was great.
I didn't look at the chat. So
even the comment. There's a few comments after. I'm like, oh, look at that. Welcome to EST, Maple Leafs fans.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Come on in. Sit down. Have a beverage. I said we wouldn't be talking about any of this if it was a soft off the glass and out. And I'll even add, I'll throw this in. Bouchard's penalty, puck over glass, was so bad, Joaquin. So bad. He had a bad night.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it came down to. And it's funny how the roller coaster of emotions with this team, again, from the highest of highs, the game prior, with the 1,000th point night, to a case where after the next game, people are looking around. They're combing Puckpedia to see what they can get for Bouchard in a trade. It's funny how it works that way. But I mean, gosh, the guy has nerves of steel. I'll say that for him, because most guys that would have two bonehead plays like that have the intestinal fortitude to toe drag Mitch Marner, his last guy at the blue line on the line, and he did it. I mean, I didn't. Nothing transpired after that, but you know what you have with Bouchard. It's a little bit of a riverboat gambler, so to speak, in a sense, where there's just going to be some great plays that you just marvel at, and then there's going to be some plays that you still marvel at that this guy did. Yeah. Because we were like, he was trying to go cross ice, like waist high sauce, far, like it's just something.
To who?
That is such a men's league play. Yeah. You see the easy one. He could have just chipped off the wall. I think it was McDavid there.
It went off of McDavid.
Yeah, like he could have just chipped off the wall. He skates into it, right? Like easy.
Yes.
But yeah, just making it so difficult on himself. And then the look, the puck squirts out. And I think I mentioned that Bouchard looked at the puck, and I got that same look from my son this weekend when I asked him to go downstairs and bring up the Christmas tree and help me, like just a little help. And he gave me the look like he had to find a cure for cancer. And then you saw 4 or 5 hard strides, and then just coast in when he could have. I think he could have got there. I really think it could have helped Ekholm, right? And but then his immediate reaction after, and I think he thought that, I don't know what he thought. Maybe he just wanted to get off the ice real quick, but he was high-stepping it around the corner faster than he was working to get back, whether he thought it was no goal or just wanted to get off the ice and try not to get the minus. But it was a very, very bad look on Evan Bouchard. I want to see his response tonight. There's going to be a lot of eyes on Evan Bouchard to see what types of plays he makes. I fully expect him to have a really good game. But let's see how he responds after a game. Hockey night in Canada. He's from Oakville.
Yes.
He probably had tons of friends and family there.
Yep.
Hockey night in Canada's everybody's talking about him over the last couple of days.
Yep.
So time to put it behind him and get back to the Evan Bouchard that we saw for the majority of the time last year.
Yes, after the engine started running, I'd say 2 months into the season for Bouchard. My goodness, man.
What do you think of the hit?
Well, really quickly, I went back and watched the goals.
Okay.
Bouchard, it looked like he was passing it to the far winger who was actually going off on a change. And then the other one, just that slow. The gallop to the bench is kind of funny, though.
It really is.
The gallop to the bench is hilarious.
What is it, 4 hard crossovers?
Yep.
And he's really picking it up right. It's a really bad look. I shouldn't laugh.
No, it didn't look good.
Oh, man.
Okay, the hit. We need to address this. And it cost Ryan Reaves 5 games, $35,000. That's what the player Safety department imposed on him. We've been updated. Darnell Nurse is expected as of right now to miss 5 to 10 days. Very scary. I know he got cut, but it also looked like he was bleeding from it, in his eye socket. So
well,
I'm kind of worried
it was
about
visor, right? I think.
Yeah, but it was on the one side. But then there's unless somehow the blood got onto the other eye, but. Very scary. And I know Darnell, like I said on the Hangout and on postgame, he's a tough guy, but as tough as you are when you're knocked out like that, and what scared me about his situation was he had a bit of the Tua, when we see guys get concussed, they have their body and limbs kind of crumple up, and he popped back up, and yes, we were Jack making the jokes and stuff. It was a shoulder to the head. Did Darnell put himself in a vulnerable position? Yes. But it was still, and listen, I know you're supposed to be aware, and you don't want to be taking a tight turn around the net with a puck and a full head of steam with your head down, but the penalty and the suspension, I think, matches the crime.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't want Darnell Nurse to be putting himself into a situation like that. It's a dirty hit at the end of the day.
You can hear. Well, the end result is a dirty hit, but I like that hit, like that coming down and
being physical.
Yeah, like Reaves. The
intention was good.
The intention to hit, but the way he hit him obviously was awful. I think Reaves is one of those guys that. He doesn't wear a visor.
No,
that's the first thing that I think of where he's from an older generation of players where it probably wasn't. It might have been a 2-minute minor back in the day if you hit a guy like that, right? So, but he had enough time to focus in on the body and go shoulder to shoulder, or He could have hit him proper. I think.
Yes.
There was an extension there, and instead of and I've seen some hitting camps and videos and stuff and how they teach to hit and how they, you target the body, obviously now, not the head. Mm-hmm. But I liked the fact that he's forcing the D-man to do something. The one thing that I was worried about first was, did anyone warn Darnell Nurse? A
heads up.
But when you go back and listen to it, you can hear guys are yelling. You can hear man on, and unfortunately Darnell doesn't pick his head up the whole time around the net there. But Reaves could have. It still would have been a really vicious hit. But if he went shoulder to shoulder there, he blows Nurse up. Yep. Nurse goes into the boards, and hope maybe he's okay, maybe he's not. But I don't think he meant to hit him in the head, but it was just he should have done a better job of controlling himself and making sure that he finishes through the body and making sure that you can go, he had enough time to adjust himself to make sure that he went through the body.
Through the body rather than kind of, it wasn't a chicken wing, but he clipped him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that we've seen, especially when the first point of contact is the head, ends up being pretty severe when it comes to injuries. So I have a keep it or clip it for later that involves those two, and I'm looking forward to getting to that. So Darnell Nurse out 5 to 10 days, according to Chris Knobloch, today at morning skate. The Oilers taking on the Montreal Canadiens. That game starts at 5:30. It's on Amazon Prime, another one of those, just so you're aware. And then we're on the air at the GCL Diesel pregame show at 4:30, and that will cut into the Reed Wilkins show, myself, Hernan Salas, and Matty Cassian. And then we'll get the final half hour of the Reed Wilkins show from 5:30 to 6. And then, of course, we've got the post-game show for you as well. Let us know your thoughts on everything that happened on Saturday. One last thing to talk about Saturday before we move on to this Habs game tonight, Joaquin, is Stu Skinner. He was getting shredded. He has been getting shredded this year. His save percentage is not good. There are some other goalies in the league who are starters that have save percentages that are pretty bad too. His goals against average isn't particularly great. It's nothing to write home about. People talking about needing that one save from him in a crucial moment. We really haven't seen that. I did mention, and we're talking about it in the bullpen too, I'm like, he put together a good 2 or 3 week run where he was reliable. This team just couldn't score goals. The other night, I looked at those, like the Nyes one. Yeah, I'd want to save there. The Marner one. Yeah, I'd want to save there. What's going on? And again, caveat is he's in his third full season. And he's done some pretty good things so far, but fans are really all over him.
Yeah, and I'm not all over him yet. I don't think that was his best performance against the Leafs. He can't really. There's two quick giveaways, and you said it, Tommy. You're looking for guys to make a save at a crucial time, and I think there's only been a handful of games where Stuart Skinner's played where he's been a pretty big difference maker with some timely saves, regardless of the score, right?
Yep.
So. And I know, it's so difficult. Like you give that puck away in the slot to Nyes, it catches you off guard. He actually got in pretty good position. It was a good shot too. Like he placed that pretty good. To tell you the truth, I didn't like the breakaway goal
because he got caught. Looked like he was about to commit to go and play it, and then he got caught kind of halfway through. Right.
There are two areas that give me pause about Stuart Skinner's game.
Okay.
One is handling the puck. I think it's not so much it's just what you do with it. And put some tape on your stick, kid. Come on. The communication with his D-men, how he sets it up, make quick decisions, move it quick, make sure. He could do a better job of that. The second is his skating ability. He's not an elite skater. Like if you look at Bobrovsky, the Russian guys seem to be really, really agile.
Shesterkin, obviously Sorokin.
You watch them on their blades. They move. It looks effortless, right? Stuart Skinner, I'm not saying he's bad, but he just doesn't have that same flow as those guys. And I think he makes up for it with the way he can read the play and get into the proper position. But that was a perfect case where he tries to take ice back and he just can't judge the speed of
Bobby McMahon there.
McMahon coming back. He's flying.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
But you have to have better timing and a better push and be able to get back. You can't just let him go around you coming straight at you. To me, I'm sure if you were to talk to Stuart Skinner, he'd say that's on me. I should make a way better effort. He shouldn't be able to just go around me and put it in the net.
Right.
Now,
Matt Cassian talks about compounding errors before the puck even got to Stu Skinner, even though he had half committed to going and playing it and realized McMahon was coming in on him pretty hard and fast. The way that pass caromed off the boards and Bouchard was so nonchalant. I know Ekholm was working his way back, but I was like, how did that carom off the boards end up being a breakaway for Bobby McMahon? Good on McMahon from
good, yeah, there. Great. Like again, and I mean this happens with. I always tell people look at the goals through the eyes in the opposite direction. If that's Connor Brown scoring that's an amazing. Oh, he beat him.
Great
it's
hustle.
Great. Yeah, yeah.
Good recognition.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go back and watch it. Bouchard, even like at least in those types of situations, and I can see if a guy's coming down on a breakaway and he's getting pressure from one side, like Ekholm was doing.
Right.
Most likely he's going to, at least if he's coming straight down, he's either going to shoot it or he's going to go left with it at least because he's getting blocked on that other side. Bouchard hustles all the way. If he strides all the way in there, he probably can interfere with McMahon at some point before it gets to there, right? So
it'll disrupt.
Skinner didn't like how he read it. Definitely don't like the effort or what Bouchard did on that goal. And so what do we have here, Tommy? Again, a game where, and I mean, there are mistakes in the games. And you talked about how goalies, you want them to make saves. And as a goalie, that's your job. You cover up for people when mistakes happen. They were 10 Bell mistakes, a lot of these.
They make a lot of those.
But you want to take one of those away. You know, you see go to the game in Dallas where Ottinger, there was a couple giveaways, and the Oilers got quick chances. Big saves by Ottinger at that point. That's what you want. So we've seen Stuart Skinner do that. I do believe that Pickard's in the net tonight.
He is
though,
in
right?
Night,
so
in tonight,
he's provided some really solid goaltending. I mean, he allowed 2 goals last game. If he's only allowing 2 goals with this Edmonton Oilers team, you should find a way to win. You got to find a way to score 3 goals.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. They, in the early part of the season, really don't score that much. They had a good week last week, and especially against the Vancouver Canucks where they exploded for 7. But, Gager, these are close games that I think a lot of it is Edmonton's doing. But don't get me wrong, like the opposition has a target on the Oilers, and the league does, because this is a team that went to the Cup final. This is a team that has 2 of the best. And actually, I'll wrap it up with this on that Toronto game, because we do need to look ahead to this Montreal game. That was not a great backhand pass by Leon Draisaitl.
No.
With Mitch Marner defending.
No. Yeah.
Too easy. Marner goes back. And I know you want to save a timely one in OT. That's also like a perennial all-star 100-point guy that's getting a great look at your goalie, and he won that battle. And that's how you end up with the loser point. So the Oilers... 5 of 6 points in their last 3 games. They had their 3-game winning streak snapped. They'll look to start a new winning streak tonight when they take on the lowly Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens not having a particularly great season. We're going to tee that one up. It is the Oil Stream, presented by Boston Pizza. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage with you. Text us as usual, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat too, or keeping tabs on that, and hit the thumbs up button. We are inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. Of course, they have their boneless wings, which were a continuation of the bone-in wings platform. I love how it's a platform. The boneless wings and the bone-in wings have a lot of great flavors. Signature hot, honey garlic, honey barbecue, garlic parm, as well as classic. Plus, Popeyes bringing back the big box, featuring 2-piece signature chicken, 2 regular sides, and a biscuit with an option for the drink upcharge. I always go with the diet or the cherry Coke.
Oh, cherry Coke.
Because they have it at Popeyes, and then I love the mac and cheese there for a side.
There's nothing like a good mac and cheese.
Love a good mac and cheese. And my favorite dipping sauce at Popeyes is the blackened ranch.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to mimic that.
And
I gotta do something with the peppercorns. But you know what I did do with peppercorns?
What?
Is I smoked them.
Really?
Yeah. So I took peppercorns and I soaked them in you know that Famous Dave's makes these spicy pickles at Costco? I like those spicy. So I took the juice from that, put the peppercorns in there, soaked them for a day, and then I threw them in the smoker.
Yeah.
And then ground them up into like a pepper. So it's a spicy dill pepper.
Did it make a difference with the flavor profile?
Yeah.
Wow.
I still have some. It's actually really, really good. I don't know why I did it. I just sometimes Tommy, I'm home.
Were you
and
drinking?
I was.
Okay.
But it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's when I find myself at home alone. I don't know. I'm like Kevin McAllister making stuff. And I made this spicy pepper with the spicy pickled pepper.
Interesting.
That I put on my eggs in the morning now, and it's got a little it's dynamite.
That's a great concoction.
It is.
Well done, Gager.
Thank you.
Well done. All right.
With a little smoke.
The smoke thing is I'm intrigued by smoking succulent meats and other vegetables and whatnot. When you guys show like videos and pictures of what you guys are creating, you and Cass especially, and then I know Jay likes to get in on it. I'm always like, man, that seems like fun.
Yeah, my next thing is smoking a ham, but doing a pulled ham.
Oh,
so
man, that'd be
I'll try to do that and bring it in. We'll have lunch all together.
Okay, I would look forward to that.
Okay.
A couple of texts before we look to this Oilers Habs matchup tonight, 5:30 p.m. puck drop, and we'll have the pregame show for you. GCL Diesel pregame show at 4:30 right here on EST. Baggio says, I like what Will Fraser said this morning. The punishment for Reaves and the Leafs should be that Reaves has to play 23 minutes a night like Darnell does. Punishment would then fit the crime. We lose a workhorse for minutes. It's going to be tough. That's from Baggio. Mike from Calgary says, what bothers me about Skinner handling the puck is he often does it at the worst times. and at times when he doesn't need to. The result is handcuffing the D-men more often than not. That's a good point by Mike in Calgary. Joel says, I don't think Nurse has been the same since he got that puck to the head. All caps from Joel, as always. The Reverend says, hey, guys, it doesn't appear there are any in-game discipline for Bouchard like the coaches did with Draisaitl and others. Why do you think that is? That's from the Reverend. I would just quickly say, because the alternatives to not putting Bouchard out there aren't particularly great.
And it's one game,
Yeah.
Like you, as a coach, I think you wanna see a response. But if he's skipping the dishes up the middle again, then he's got to have a seat.
Yeah. There should be consequences for making stupid plays. I mean, and I'm glad I remembered this. The puck over glass penalty he took was so dumb.
Yeah.
And even the stunned look on his face, like he knew he screwed up, but it was like, man, you know better than. And he had time. I know you're in the slot and you got guys that want to come and take the puck from you because you're in a sweetheart position for the offensive team to make something happen, but you just whack it 15 feet in the air and it goes over the glass. Like, take a quick look. You do have good ability with the puck most of the time. There? No. Maybe that was an indicator as to where his night would go. Maybe. All right. Here is what we're anticipating from the Oilers tonight. Josh Brown has been recalled, and we'll see him make his debut. The one thing that is surprising me a little bit is Victor Arvidsson still out, Gager. That's the third game he's going to sit, and they have to go 11-7 tonight. We're gonna.
Did you go over the lines already?
I'm going to do it right now, and let me know. Like, I've got McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Perry, Henrique with Janmark and Brown, Skinner and Ryan are your fourth line, if you will, a duo there that has a rotation of centers playing with them. Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Kulak with Emerson, Dermott with Stetcher, and I have Brown as number 7. I'm sure there's some kind of rotation that will occur tonight. Anything standing out to you there? Because it seems pretty straightforward.
Well, I'm just looking at that second line, Perry and Podkolzin. It's interesting. And then when I look at the Habs lineup, obviously you probably, I don't know, maybe you want Suzuki up against the McDavid line, but then the second line, Newhook, Evans, and Caulfield, that's quick.
Yep.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who they want that Evans line to go up against, either Henrique or Draisaitl. Dvorak, Gallagher, and Anderson, that's kind of a very hard-working line.
Yep. And then the fourth line is
Kandata, Armia, and
Heineman.
I guess what I'm most interested in tonight is the lineup combinations. Who's going to play against who, and if they try to keep Suzuki away from McDavid, or do they want to go power on power?
Yeah. Anytime McDavid goes up, the power on power thing. Anytime a team goes into it trying to contain McDavid with their best line, I like McDavid's chances just automatically.
Obviously.
Best player in the world. But we'll see. I mean, Nick Suzuki's a very good player. He's got a couple of good ones on his wings in Slavkovsky and Kirby Dach. Slavkovsky, of course, first overall pick a couple of years ago. He's kind of finding his game. Dach coming off a big injury, the product of Fort Saskatchewan. He's a big body guy with some skill too. Like, they have some good players on this roster. The defense is Caden Gooley I really like, and I think he's going to be great for a long time in the NHL. Mike Matheson's a pretty respectable defenseman. Then you look at Lane Hudson and David Savard. Arbor Xhekaj and Jaden Struble are the third pairing.
Hudson's got some kind of cool clips that we've seen.
Yeah.
Very small, but very good transport of the puck, it seems like so far.
And they traded for him for a reason.
Yeah.
But still, like, this Habs team has struggled this year, and we see it in their record. We see it in Saturday nights when you're watching, keeping tabs on them. They're 6-10-2 on home ice. They're 4-4-1. The Oilers pretty good on the road so far this season, 5-2-1, coming off that OT loss. This should be an Edmonton Oilers victory. Now, will they do it in a way that satisfies everyone? Unlikely, because they seem to frustrate their fan base more so than not. But I think we could be talking about an Oilers team starting another winning stretch here.
Should.
Yeah,
really should.
Yeah.
I mean, especially after there should be a little bit of a mean on after last game, the way it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it's got to be. It's frustrating at times when you go. You had the game.
They did.
That was 2 points that should have been put in the bank, so to speak, with the possibilities of playing teams that, especially the Montreal Canadiens, you set yourself up to win 2 on the road, and then basically that last one against Ottawa is, it's free money right at that point. Can we go home and increase this streak to 6 games would be great for the Oilers. Obviously, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, it's a point streak, if you will. But
yeah, look, they should have this game. This is a struggling Montreal Canadiens team. Obviously, they're going to get up for this. Playing in Montreal is a lot of fun. Fans are great.
Yes,
hot dogs even better.
Those hot dogs are magical for whatever reason.
I don't know why.
What are they? The bun it's like almost like just like piece of bread, or they fold the bun differently.
Folded bread, yeah.
And you're like,
they're so good. But yeah, this is I mean, I think Hernan and I were talking about it. What coach is kind of on the hot seat here, and I would put Marty St. Louis on there. And I know, like, if you inject Laine into this lineup, it changes a little bit for sure.
Correct.
But they've been struggling, really, really struggling. Take the will away from them is what would be my message as a head coach.
That's what I always expect from the better teams in the NHL against the weaker teams. It's just go in and set the tone of the game, establish that they don't have a chance. Don't let them linger.
Yeah.
And a couple goals usually does that. A couple goals in the first period, and don't let them have any false pretenses that they can hang around with the big dogs. And I think that's something that this Oilers team this year, part of their identity is they don't do that to other teams.
They play at the level. Like the Leafs came out hard. Like, but the Oilers matched it, I thought. Like,
so did I,
people were talking about, are the Oilers a fast team? I heard on the broadcast anyway, and sometimes it's hard to judge on television, but it looked like a fast game to me. Like that was I don't think that the Oilers are a slow team. Maybe there's some guys that they had on the team last year that can get around a little bit better. But you heard Connor McDavid talk about after the 1,000-point game that he said our offense isn't quite there yet either, and we're just not. Offense comes from being crisp and precise, and he says there's still some work. So I think that's where that speed thing comes in, because when they're operating at executing at a high level and making those passes, they're a much faster team.
Right. And I know, like, the boots might not move as quick on this Oilers team compared to teams like last year's where you had some burners, but efficiency with the puck makes up for that. And that's something you talked about last year, Gager. It was it's a simple thing, but it's one that I think gets overlooked. And I remember when you said it last season, you're like, watch this Oilers team in the first 5 to 10 minutes. If they're moving the puck well, not bumbling it, not giving it away, they're probably going to have a good night. And I think some of that, it feels like to me, has lingered into this season, where if they're really slow and lethargic and not quick on the pickup, they generally end up in trouble on those nights. So to Edmonton's credit, the goals for per game has gone up, though, 2.78. It was clipping at about 2.2 prior to the Canucks game last week. And then so they've put up a few games where they've gotten past that 2-goal hurdle in a game. They still are at 3.17 allowed per game. That's an issue. Yes, part of it is the defense. I think that's still the majority of the issue. Again, I'm seeing these stats saying Stu Skinner in his high danger chances not making enough saves. I think part of it is you're not getting that extra save from your goalie now. I will fully acknowledge that. But the people that are saying it's not the defense of this team, I think you guys are out to lunch. I think it's now becoming clear it's a combination, but I think the defense is more so the issue still.
And the thing is, they're not bad goals that that are being scored on Stuart Skinner. Like they're good hardworking goals for the most part from the other team.
Yeah.
A lot of it is given to them, and they're taking advantage of it.
Pickard too, by the way. We should not discount.
Yeah.
Pickard's allowing these in
exactly.
As well.
So it's just I think when I watched that game with the Jets and the Rangers the other night, where the Jets handled them quite proficiently.
Yeah.
And both goalies, there was times when they made saves where they took goals away from the other team. Right. And it's not always going to happen, but I think to be like, you look at the chances and you look at the stats and things. So when it all boils down, I think for the Oilers to win most games, I would say there's like 5 or 6 that the Oilers goalies, like goals you have to take away from the other team, you know? And right now, I would say maybe it's 3, maybe 4 a game that these guys are doing combined. You'd like to see them raise that number up. I don't think that's a stat, but that's what I'd like to see. You want to, when have those, 20,000 people halfway out of their seats thinking there's a goal, and all of a sudden it's in the glove or the goalie makes a save. That's where I want to see. And Skinner was there last year.
Yeah.
He has to find some way to get back to that.
It's funny, all the goalies vying for Team Canada at the Four Nations face-off, and ultimately the Olympics are not having particularly great seasons. Logan Thompson, who's become kind of like a sleeper pick, is having. Who had him on their radar?
Cam Talbot, man.
I know there was an article. I think it was the Score had one to make him. He would be a viable goaltender for Team Canada. And I love Talbot. He's a great guy. He's been a good goalie in the NHL for a long time now. I think he just got his 300th win. But I don't think anybody's gonna be like, we need to take Cam Talbot all of a sudden, put him on Team Canada. He's having a good season. So it's interesting. Like they have their team targeted, their players that they have on the radar. I wonder too if that's affecting Zach Hyman at all, because he's projected to be on that team. He's not having a good season.
Yeah, Hyman's a little bit of an enigma to me. He seems a little bit off. There's still the tenacity and working hard, but just doesn't have. A few goals can probably do wonders for Zach Hyman right now, just to get a little bit of his mojo back. Because I look at the body language after shifts when maybe you had a chance, things don't go well. There's a lot of shaking the head. You got to have just like a goalie letting in a goal. You have to have a short memory sometimes, shift to shift. Right.
Fair.
And just get back to it. Eventually, I think he will. Are we going to see another 50-goal season out of Zach Hyman?
Maybe not.
That probably not. But look, individual success throughout the year. I think a lot of these milestones are finally hit, and there's not a lot of other ones that we're going to see for a while.
Yeah.
So they can just focus on who scores, who cares who scores the goals. The bottom line is this team has to figure out what type of team they have to be a consistent winner each and every night.
I haven't found that at all. I think that is a consensus across the board. We'll see if they'll figure it out. Took them a while to get it figured out last season. All right, time now to get to Keep It or Clip It, brought to you by Tommy Gunn's Original Barber Shop. We believe a great haircut is more than just a quick in and out. It's about the whole experience. That's why we follow the code, a commitment to deliver the best barbershop experience every time you visit. From check-in to the finishing touch, every step is crafted with care. No appointments needed. Just walk in, relax, and we'll take it from there. Tommy Gunn's Original Barbershop. We begin Keep It or Clip It with this one. Gets juicy, and I like it right off the top. Joaquin Gage, will Darnell Nurse fight Ryan Reaves on February 1st when the Leafs come to Edmonton?
I hope not. Not that it wouldn't be entertaining. I think it would be a good tilt. But it comes down to the fact that Ryan Reaves isn't. I would much more prefer him to be on the ice, especially in your home rink, if you can get favorable changes and things like that. He's a liability, right? He's a physical guy that he's going to dump the puck in and try to run somebody, but he even has issues doing that most of the time. We had a saying to a lot of players that you'd say this to, but let him sleep. Just don't even interact with him. he's not. Don't let him affect a game by being a mouthpiece or his physical play. And I think the Oilers are best suited to just let sleeping dogs lie. But I did see a tilt with Josh Brown, and it would be interesting to see where the Oilers are at that point of the season.
Right.
If there is some, scheduled maintenance or load management with a quick call up to Josh Brown to have a discussion with Ryan Reaves off the first shift. Because I'm sure if, depending on what the lineup card looks like, if there's a start with Ryan Reaves, Josh Brown would be a willing combatant.
We will see Josh Brown's debut with the Oilers tonight. Keep it or clip it. He's going to get into a fight to demonstrate his commitment to the team.
I would look for a Jack Eye Brown fight. I think that tickles my fancy.
Yeah, me too.
After watching Jack Eye the other night, and look, the Oilers I think they're undefeated when there's a little Donnybrook. So why not?
So you're clipping Darnell Nurse fighting Ryan Reaves, but you're keeping Josh Brown fighting somebody tonight.
You betcha.
I selfishly, and because I think Darnell wants to get his pound of flesh back from Ryan Reaves, I think he will fight him.
You think so?
Yeah, but you make a great point, and that's the common sense, logical way to look. Beat them on the scoreboard.
Depends on the time of the game.
Yeah, and Darnell Nurse is much more valuable to the Oilers playing like the text came in earlier, 23 minutes a night, and he's been playing well this season to his credit. He's had a bounce back year thus far, I'll say it, rather than going toe-to-toe with a guy that really doesn't serve much of a purpose all that much for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. All right, and then the Brown fight tonight, I'll take it. I'll keep it. I'm not clipping that one. I wouldn't mind seeing it. And I like a reintroduction to your new team kind of thing.
Hey, you got to get noticed too, right? What more to get noticed than lay the boots to somebody?
And provide the fans something to enjoy. All right, keep it or clip it, Joaquin. Do the Oilers have a Stuart Skinner problem?
I'm going to clip it. Okay, I'm going to wait till after American Thanksgiving.
Okay, fair enough. I know we talked a lot about him. I will also clip it. I do acknowledge he does need to give you that one save. I am not defending him for the other night. And overall, though, I think the body of work suggests they do not have a Stuart Skinner problem, so I'm clipping that one. All right, last one for you, Gager, on Keep It or Clip It, brought to you by Tommy Gunn's Original Barbershop. Jeff Skinner will be on Draisaitl's line by the end of the week. Keep it or clip it.
Oh, that is a good one. Yeah, I'm going to keep it because I think that that spot is interchangeable with Corey Perry.
Very fair.
That's what I say.
I still think Podkolzin shouldn't be on.
Shouldn't?
No.
Gosh, if he could only finish.
Yeah. That's the reason why.
That's the reason why.
I like his tenacity.
He does a lot of good things, man. He has very underrated passing ability. Where
I agree.
He gets it. He does a really good job, and you can see why Leon likes playing with him.
Because he does the hard stuff.
He does the hard stuff, and who does he look for first? 29, right? It is, and not only that, but he makes good plays to get him the puck.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you need results, not 3 assists.
No, he needs to. You know what? I'm going to call it Podkolzin goal tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Podkolzin through 18 games, 3 apples, -3, 9 penalty minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
We got a grimace there from Hernan.
Almost puked in his mouth right there.
I'll also keep Jeff Skinner gets on Draisaitl's line, and you're right. Corey Perry going up there, you're like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But it's and Corey Perry, to his credit, has put together a good year on the fourth line.
Who would you say have been the most consistent Edmonton Oilers so far this season?
Perry's one of them.
Perry, and I would probably put Kulak.
Yes.
Hey?
Darnell even.
Darnell's been good, man.
Yeah.
Tonight's going to be a funny one, not having Darnell. With the amount of flack he does receive, you're going to see what not having Darnell Nurse in your lineup's going to look like. So they're going to have to work by committee on the back end, and get a little bit more support from the forward group.
Yeah, absolutely. No Arvidsson again tonight. Hampton Steve says, with Arvidsson out again today and likely tomorrow, why didn't they call up someone like Philp or Savoy? Didn't they stop accruing cap space once Josh Brown was called up anyway? I think they didn't anticipate Arvidsson being out this long.
Yeah, he was supposed to play.
Yeah. And so it's still not ready to go, and maybe they're just kind of waiting on him to be ready to go. Troll says, Oilers were the better team on Saturday. They just threw it away like Winnipeg did in the Grey Cup. Well, literally, Collaros throwing it away to the secondary of the Argos. That was a fun game to watch. A great Grey Cup, by the way, and enjoyed it thoroughly. Gager, what do you guys got coming up here on EST
Oh, gosh. We got Brian Wilde from the Global Montreal. Talk a little bit of the game tonight. Obviously, we're talking the Grey Cup. We'll go back into tonight's game a little bit. DVD is going to join us.
DVD.
And, we'll... probably by then, we'll just close out the show and let the big dogs, Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne, take over.
That's them barking. Ow, 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 ow. Orca Driver getting one in late says, you can complain about this defense all you want, but those high-priced off-season forward acquisitions have not panned out either. He's alluding to Arvidsson and Skinner.
I don't know about high-priced.
That's the only thing is they're not really high-priced. Yeah. They're modestly priced. Arvidsson at $4 schmil.
Nashville is high-priced.
Yes, exactly. And that's not working out. Although
did have 2.
They get the win, and Stamkos did score. And I think a lot of
Ovi
fans
getting a hat trick.
Oh, he's doing it this year, Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah.
No question. He is so motivated.
I just hope he scores the puck and just goes off the ice, too. And goes straight to Russia. Like, where'd he go? Kaiser Sose. He was gone.
Chef's kiss. Gager, great stuff. Thank you for filling in. Dusty's back tomorrow.
What?
But
Who?
Intermittently, he's not full pull yet.
Yeah.
He said yesterday, too, after he called the game, he had some trouble with that cough that's been bothering him for 3 weeks now.
Jesus.
But, great stuff, Gager. Always a pleasure.
Hey, this was great, man.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to EST Afternoons.
Perfect.
All right, big boy. That's going to do it for this edition of the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. Big thank you to Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen as well as Tommy Gunn's Original Barbershop. For Joaquin, I'm Tom saying thank you for watching and listening. EST Afternoons coming up next. Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage, and then we've got the EST Big Show with Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne, which I will be cutting into with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show.
Lots
with
of Tommy.
Cass and Hernan. I apologize. All right, ciao for now. EST Afternoons coming up next.